You have done everything they told you to do, and you have done it faithfully for months now, maybe even for years. You trimmed the sugar. You earned your sweat before sunrise 3 mornings a week, and you learned to read the back of every label. And still, when you catch your reflection sideways in a passing window, the same soft weight is sitting there around your middle. It shrinks for a week whenever you punish yourself hard enough. And then, quietly and stubbornly, it comes right back again. So you decide the problem must simply be you, that you lack the discipline everyone else somehow managed to find. But that stubborn fat is not a math problem, and no amount of raw willpower is ever going to solve it for you. Because there is a single hormone that can quietly overrule almost every good and difficult thing you do for your body. You can run the miles and eat like a monk all day. Yet if this one chemical runs high, almost none of it will land. Its name is cortisol, and it is not some flaw hidden in your design. It is a survival system working far too well. To see how it truly works, forget the gym for a moment and travel back with me 100,000 years. For almost the whole of human history, stress meant one thing and one thing only. And that single thing was sudden physical danger. A shape moving in the long grass, a rival appearing at the tree line, a threat that arrived fast and then was gone. When it came, the body released cortisol, and cortisol carried a single, brilliant, life-saving command down into every corner of you. Store your energy, it said, and hold your reserves close, because hard and hungry days may very well be coming soon. It was never meant to last for long, only to carry you through the danger, and then quietly switch itself back off. But your body never once learned the difference between a charging animal and a glowing screen full of frightening news. The overdue bill, the message you dread opening, the argument you keep replaying at midnight, all of them read as the same signal. Danger, 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 whispered quietly into your blood from the moment you wake until the moment you finally fall asleep. For your ancestors, the threat came and then it passed, and the body would sink gratefully back down into calm. For you, the threat never truly ends, so the cortisol never falls, and the ancient alarm inside you simply never switches off. And a mind that will not stop replaying its worries keeps that alarm ringing long after the real day is finally done. And notice exactly where the body chooses to keep what it hoards, because that choice is not random at all. It packs it deep in the middle, close and guarded and hidden, because that is the fastest fuel to reach in an emergency. This is the deep and dangerous kind of fat that doctors fear the most, not the soft surface layer you can pinch. The very fat that harms you the most is, cruelly, the fat your frightened body is the most desperate to hold on to. Crowded in close around the body's vital centers, this hidden fat presses on the organs and quietly fuels disease over the years. So the body, meaning only to protect you, ends up hiding its reserves in the one place that harms you the most. And cortisol does not stop at merely storing that fat, because it reaches much further into the machinery of your appetite. It pushes your blood sugar up and then lets it crash down hard. And that crash arrives, cleverly disguised as hunger. A sudden craving for something sweet and fast, usually late at night, at the exact hour when your guard is finally down. So you eat it, the body stores it, tomorrow's stress lifts the cortisol again, and the craving returns right on schedule. It is a loop that feeds itself, and you have been blaming your willpower for losing a fight it never rigged fairly. And simply understanding this loop is the first quiet relief, because it means the failure was never a weakness hidden inside your character. And here is the cruelest turn of all, the one that quietly traps the very people who are trying the hardest. The more brutally you grind to force the fat off, the louder you end up screaming danger into your own tired body. Savage workouts, crash diets, and starving yourself thin on far too little sleep are all read by the body as one more emergency. You punish the body to make it let go. And the body, feeling only punished, clenches down even tighter around what it has. The harder the effort, the deeper the body digs in, certain that only a real catastrophe could ever demand such relentless punishment. So let me ask you the one question that quietly changes everything about how you approach that stubborn, unmoving weight. What if the answer was never to fight even harder, but to do something that feels almost like its exact opposite? What if the lean and steady people had found a truth we buried under a whole century of grind and guilt? Because the people who stay effortlessly lean are rarely the ones straining hardest against their own bodies in the cold of dawn. To find it, we leave the gym behind entirely and travel to the quiet islands of old Japan, many centuries ago. Now, these were not soft people, and this is not some soft idea dressed up prettily in candlelight and calm. The samurai lived their whole lives beside death, and the monks endured a cold and hunger that would break most of us in days. And yet, at the very center of all that hardness sat one strange, unshakable value, prized above almost everything else they owned. That value was stillness, the rare ability to stay calm and level, even while the entire world around you comes violently apart. To them, a calm body was a strong body, and a calm mind was the single sharpest weapon a warrior ever carried. A swordsman ruled by panic was already beaten and broken long before any blade was ever drawn between the two of them. Miyamoto Musashi fought some 60 duels and never once lost, and he died believing that calm, not skill, was his truest edge. Not speed and not strength, but a spirit that stayed perfectly level in victory and in defeat, unmoved by either one. With his very life on the line, he learned the exact thing your own body is quietly begging you to learn. The old masters even had a word for it, mushin, a mind of no panic, empty and clear and ready for anything. And this brings us to the turn I want you to carry with you long after this video has ended. Your body is not your enemy. It is not betraying you, and it is certainly not lazy or in any way broken. It is doing the one single job a million years of survival built it to do. which is fiercely protecting you. The weight around your middle is not the proof of your failure at all. It is, strangely, the proof of its loyalty. So the work was never to overpower it, because you simply cannot win that fight, and the trying only makes it worse. The work is to send it an entirely new message, patiently, until it finally believes the danger has truly passed at last. You are not breaking the body down into obedience. You are patiently and gently coaxing a frightened guardian back toward its peace. The fastest way to send that message is the one quiet tool you carry everywhere, and yet almost never use on purpose. Your breath is the single part of this whole ancient survival system that you can reach in and steer directly by hand. When you are afraid, your breath climbs high and shallow up into the chest, fast and tight and quick and thin. And the body reads that very breathing as fresh proof of danger, and it answers it faithfully with still more cortisol. The Japanese centered everything a few inches below the navel. In the soft space of the belly, they called the hara. So breathe slowly and deeply down into the belly, in through the nose, and out even longer and slower through the mouth. 60 slow seconds of that, and you feel the switch turn. The shoulders fall. The jaw and the heart both ease. The long, slow exhale is the true secret here, because a breath that leaves slowly is the body's oldest signal for safety. The second message is movement, but not the punishing, red-faced kind you are probably already bracing yourself against right now. On the island of Okinawa live some of the leanest and longest living people the Earth has ever quietly managed to produce, and almost none of them has ever once set foot inside anything even resembling a gym in the whole of their long lives. Instead, they simply walk, slowly and constantly, to the garden, to a neighbor's door, and up a gentle hill, and back again. They tend the soil. They kneel and rise 100 times a day, and they carry and climb without a second thought. This soft, endless, almost invisible movement burns fuel steadily all day without ever once screaming danger into the nervous system. A long, calm walk lowers your cortisol, where a single frantic hour of hard cardio can quietly raise it instead. And a short, easy walk, taken just after a meal, steadies the blood sugar before it can ever spike and then crash. Movement like this was never once exercise to them. It was simply the ordinary, unhurried shape of a whole life well lived. The third message is written at the dinner table, and the Japanese have 4 soft, quiet words that carry the whole of it. Hara, hachi, they say to one another, which means simply to eat until you are about 80% full. And then, with no drama and no struggle, and nothing left at all to prove, you gently and simply set the chopsticks down. Because overeating is itself a quiet stress on the body, a sudden flood it has to scramble and strain to manage. Fullness takes some 20 long minutes to travel all the way from the stomach up to the brain, so they eat slowly. What fills those small bowls is plant-forward and barely processed, almost untouched by the refined sugar that keeps feeding the cortisol loop. They rise from the table, feeling calmly satisfied instead of heavy, never having declared war on their own hunger in the first place. The miso, the pickles, the fermented staples quietly feed the gut, and a settled gut sends its own calm signal up to the mind. The fourth message is delivered entirely in the dark, and for the fat around your middle, it may be the strongest of them all. Cortisol is meant to move across your day like a tide, rising to wake you at dawn and falling away again at night. But a screen-lit, racing, anxious evening jams that tide, and it holds the cortisol high at the very hour it should be sinking. So you lie down exhausted and wired at the very same time, braced all night for a siege that is never going to come. The old warriors understood this well, and they guarded the end of the day with ritual, laying the day's burdens deliberately aside. So dim the lights a full hour before bed. Put the glowing screen down and let your body feel the night truly arrive. Keep the room cool and dark, and lie down and rise at the same hour until the tide relearns its steady rhythm. In that deep and unbroken rest, the cortisol finally falls away, and the body quietly does the repair it never could awake. There is a fifth message, gentler than all the rest, that the Japanese seemed to take almost entirely for granted. They rose with the sun and let its early light reach their open eyes, setting the whole day's inner rhythm running cleanly. Paired with it was the deliberate pause, a small bowl of green tea, taken slowly, with absolutely nowhere else in the world to be. Not gulped down for the caffeine, but held and tasted. A small, deliberate island of stillness, carved out of a busy day. And these same long-lived villages were also the most deeply connected. Neighbors who shared their meals and were never left truly alone. Loneliness is a stress the body feels as sharply as any hunger, and belonging, quietly and daily, lowers the ancient alarm. They also walked slowly among the trees, and simply moving beneath a green canopy has been shown to lower the stress within us. Now stand back for a moment and notice the one thing that every single one of these quiet messages has in common. Slow breath, slow movement, gentle eating, deep sleep, morning light, a quiet cup of tea, and time with people you truly love. Not one of them is a battle, and not one of them is the grinding, white-knuckle suffering we were all promised. For the fat that stress itself put there, calm is not the reward waiting patiently at the end of the work. Calm is the work itself, and the harder you fight against it, the tighter your frightened body holds on to everything. The strongest people were never the ones who fought the hardest, but the ones who had quietly learned exactly when to stop fighting. So let me hand you the whole day, plainly and simply, so that you can begin it for yourself tomorrow morning. When you first wake, before the world can reach in and grab you, open the curtains and let the light find your face. Then take 60 slow seconds to breathe down into the belly, setting the quiet tone of the day before it has begun. Somewhere in the middle of it, take an unhurried 20-minute walk with no phone, no podcast, and no pace you are chasing. At each of your meals, slow all the way down, taste the food, and stop gently at about 80% full. And at night, build 1 hour that is dim and quiet and screen-free. A real border between the day's noise and your rest. Notice that none of this exhausts you, because you are not adding another fight. You are finally taking one away. Repeat that simple shape of a day again and again, and you are no longer at war with yourself from the moment you wake. Now, I will not lie to you, because none of this is going to undo itself inside a single impatient week. The body that spent years learning it was in danger needs time and proof and repetition before it will believe otherwise. The Japanese expected nothing else from it. They thought in patient seasons, not in days, and they trusted the slow turning of things. Temples, gardens, coastal villages, and lantern-lit nights. But somewhere in those quiet, unremarkable weeks, the sleep begins to deepen, and the late-night cravings slowly loosen their grip and fall away. And the weight that would not move for all your years of effort begins, almost in secret, to quietly let itself go. Trust the seasons the way that they did. Keep sending the signal of safety, and let your patient body do its slow work. So hear this one thing, if you hear nothing else at all that I have said to you today. Your body is not holding that fat because you are weak or lazy or somehow broken in a way that everyone else escaped. It is holding on because in the only language it has ever known, it is trying with everything it has to keep you alive. It believes, far beneath where your willpower can ever reach, that you are still standing in the middle of some great danger. Your task was never to punish it into surrender. Your task, quietly and simply, is only to make it feel safe. Do that, patiently and gently, and every single day. And the body that fought you so long will finally, quietly, let go. If these words found you at the right moment, subscribe and continue the journey with us. Until we meet again.